Hi folks, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to episode 10. I can't believe we've gotten this far, to be honest. 42 more to go. I hope you're doing well, and I hope today's episode is relaxing for you. This week runs from November 16th until the 22nd. Lots to discuss this week, so let's dive right in. We start November 16th with the USS Bonita, SS-165, a Barracuda class laid down on this date in 1921. Bonita, along with her sisters, were designed to meet the fleet submarine requirement of 21 knots surface speed to operate alongside contemporary battleships. Next is the USS Truda, SS-421, commissioned on this date in 1944. Built by Portsmouth Navy Yard, she was first commanded by Arthur C. Smith. Truda was a Tench-class diesel-electric submarine, the only one to be named for that particular type of trout. In 1950, the USS Blower, SS-325, was decommissioned. In February of 1950, she had been selected for transfer to Turkey under the terms of the Mutual Defense Assistance Program. She departed San Diego to arrive at Philadelphia Naval Shipyard at Lake Island for overhaul. Then she transitioned to Naval Submarine Base, Groton, Connecticut, so her new Turkish crew could train on her. She was officially struck from the Naval Vessel Register on the 20th of November. Jumping pretty far forward in time, we come to 2021 and the decommissioning of USS Jacksonville, SSN 689, a Los Angeles ship, the only one of her name. After 36 years of active service, Jacksonville completed her final deployment in August of 2017. Soon after, she arrived in Bremerton, Washington. Her inactivation ceremony was held at the Naval Undersea Museum in Keyport, Washington, and her decommissioning ceremony took place at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. She waits there for her final dispensation, most likely in the Ship and Submarine Recycling Program. On the 17th of November 1922, the USS H-8, SS-151, was decommissioned in Norfolk, Virginia. Her name was struck from the Naval Vessel Register in 1931, and she was sold for scrap in 1933. USS Lamprey, SS-372, was commissioned on this day in 1944, built by Manitowoc Shipbuilding Company in Wisconsin. After her tests and trials in Lake Michigan, she entered a floating dry dock in Lockport, Illinois, and was floated down the Mississippi River to arrive in New Orleans on the 13th of December. 4 days later, she sailed from New Orleans to the Pacific to begin her career. In 1969, we have the USS Irex, SS-482, decommissioned and stricken from the Naval Vessel Register. In September of 1971, she was sold for scrap. 1984 brings the commissioning of yet another Los Angeles-class sub, the USS Olympia, SS-717, second ship of the Navy to be named for the city in Washington. She had been laid by Newport News in 1981. Olympia was assigned to Submarine Squadron 7 and homeported in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Her motto was Latin for, "We are ready." On the 18th of November 1943, the USS Dentura, SS-335, was laid by the Electric Boat Company of Groton. Her original name was Capodoli. Dentura was a Baleo-class sub in service from 1944 to 46 and served only one war patrol, for which she received a single battle star. On the same day, USS Sea Devil, SS-400, was laid down at the Portsmouth Navy Yard. She was also a Blair sub, though her service history is much longer. USS Baton Rouge, SSN 689, was laid down in 1972, built by Newport News Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Company. She was the second LA-class sub to be commissioned and the first to be decommissioned, following a collision with a Russian Sierra-class submarine. USS Jacksonville, SSN 699, was launched on this day in 1978. Her sponsor was Mrs. Dorothy Jean Bennett, wife of Congressman Charles E. Bennett. We just talked about this boat, so I will only mention that apparently her nickname was the Bold One. We move next to the 19th, 1936, with the commissioning of USS Perch, SS-176. Perch went on to be a member of the Pacific Fleet and Submarine Squadron 6 after her shakedown. Perch was a Porpoise class, first of her name. Next up, the USS Boston, SSN 703, decommissioned and stricken from the Naval Vessel Register on this date in 1999. Boston, like many of her early Los Angeles-class sisters, was denied a midlife refueling. She was recycled through the Ship and Submarine Recycling Program at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard in Bremerton, Washington. On the 19th of September 2002, she ceased to exist, except for her sail and upper rudder, which were preserved for display at the Buffalo and Erie County Naval and Military Park. In 2022, the USS Arkansas, SSN 800, was laid down by Newport News Shipbuilding. There isn't much to say about her yet, except that she's a Virginia-class sub, fifth of her name. She was christened December 7th, 2024 by Carlotta Walls Lanier, a member of the Little Rock Nine. According to the article, her sponsors are all members of the Little Rock Nine, actually. Arkansas will someday join the fleet, and I'm excited to see what happens in her future. On the 20th of November 1945, the USS Spinax SS-489 was launched. She was a Tench-class sub, sponsored by Mrs. Tom C. Clark. I'm guessing that's Thomas Campbell Clark, the Attorney General, so that makes her Mary Ramsey. I'm not too sure. After her commissioning on the 20th of September, Spinax sailed to New London, Connecticut, and was assigned to the Atlantic Fleet. USS Bluefish, SS-222, was decommissioned in 1953. After a recommissioning in January 1953 in New London, Bluefish was sold for scrap in June of 1960, ending a career that spanned 11 years and 9 more patrols. In 1992, the USS James Madison, SSBN 627, was decommissioned and stricken from the Naval Vessel Register. James Madison, lead ship of her class, was the second of her name. Her inactivation began at Mare Island Naval Shipyard in Vallejo, California, in February of 1992, and she was sent to Puget Sound Naval Shipyard for scrapping through the Ship and Submarine Recycling Program. This process was completed on the 24th of October, 1997. USS Missouri, Mighty Mo, SSN 780, was launched on this day in 2009, sponsored by Rebecca Gates, wife of Secretary of Defense Robert Gates. She is homeported in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and her motto is, "United we stand, divided we fall." November 21st starts with the commissioning of USS Gudgeon, SS-567, in 1952. She was a Tang-class diesel-electric submarine built by Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. Her first commander was Robert M. Carroll, and she was the first American sub to circumnavigate the globe. USS Blunger, SSN 595, a permanent attack-class sub, was commissioned on this date in 1962. She had been built by Mare Island Naval Shipyard of Vallejo, California. Originally, she had been planned as a guided missile submarine, but when her keel was laid in March of 1960, they redesigned her as an SSN attack submarine. Permit-class boats were originally Thresher-class, but following the loss of the USS Thresher in 1963, the class was renamed. USS Lewis and Clark, SSBN 644, was launched in 1964, built by Newport News. Her sponsors were Mrs. M.F. England and M.G. Sale. After her shakedown and missile tests, Lewis and Clark began her deterrent patrols, armed to the teeth with Polaris A-3 missiles. Next is the Deep Submergence Vehicle NR-1, taken out of service on this day in 2008. Nerwin was used for research and survey from its launching in 1969. She was defueled at Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, then scrapped at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, though certain pieces are now permanently on display at the Submarine Force Library in Groton. Last day of the week, we're on the home stretch. In 1939, the USS Gudgeon, SS-211, was laid down by Mare Island Navy Yard. She was the first American sub to sink an enemy warship in World War II and holds an impressive record of 14 confirmed kills. Gudgeon was a Tamper-class sub, the Navy's first fully successful fleet submarine. USS Bonefish, SS-582, was launched in 1958. Second of her name, a Barbell-class sub built by the New York Shipbuilding Corporation of Camden, New Jersey. Her sponsor was Mrs. Lawrence L. Edge, widow of Commander Lawrence Edge, who had lost his life with his first ship, the first Bonefish, in 1945. I believe her name was Sarah Jackson Sims. I like to find the sponsor's actual name when I can, but sometimes it can be a bit of research. In 1960, we launched the USS Ethan Allen, SSBN 608, lead ship of her class. She had been laid down September 14, 1959, by electric boat in Groton. Her sponsor was Margaret Hitchcock Sims Hopkins, great-great-great-granddaughter of Ethan Allen himself, wife of Robert H. Hopkins. Ethan Allen class boats were the first ones designed from the keel up instead of being skipjack subs with a missile house. They were designed under Project SCB-180, functionally similar to the George Washington class, but longer and streamlined with only 4 torpedo tubes. There were 5 of these boats created, and all 5 have since been retired. Lastly, the USS Washington, SSN 787, was laid down in 2014. The contract to build her was awarded to Huntington Ingalls Industries in partnership with General Dynamics Electric Boat. Her home port is Naval Station Norfolk, and her motto is, "Preserving peace, prepared for war." That's all I've got for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed or were at least bored to sleep. Take care, and I will see you next time.